I want to share with you one of my secret trading weapons that every trader should keep in their arsenal for taking trades after a big move up or down. Whenever Bitcoin or whatever asset you're trading gets a very large move, people get absolutely wrecked and they chase price and they start using emotion. But what we need to train ourselves to do is sit on our hands during a big move and then wait for setups to present themselves. So I'm going to be sharing with you two really great setups you can use. They're very high win rate after a big move. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications because we are bringing you the juiciest trading strategies and TA videos here on YouTube. When Bitcoin dumps, people lose money because they get very emotional and they make rash decisions. And today, Bitcoin got a pretty big dump. And I want to talk about how I was able to get into this long trade, cool, calm, collected, planning it out in advance. Very clean, easy setup. So whenever Bitcoin is getting a big move, the best thing you can do is sit on your hands. Do not be tempted to enter into a FOMO short. Do not be tempted to enter into a FOMO long. Instead, we need to wait for some kind of market structure to form. For example, if we had tried to, let's say, take a FOMO short right down here, well, we would have gotten absolutely wrecked on this wick to the upside. If we had decided, let's say, to take a FOMO long right here, well, we would have gotten wrecked on this move back to the downside. What we need to do after Bitcoin gets a big move is we need to wait for some kind of a sideways range to form. And the reason for that is because most of the time, the asset is always going to be trading sideways. In fact, we can see all day, pretty much this morning, we were ranging sideways, right, with a pretty clearly defined low right about here and a pretty clearly defined high right about here. And we came from the low to the high to the low to the high to the low to the high to the low, and then we eventually broke down. And so once we can determine that there's somewhat of a sideways range forming as we had right here, we can say, okay, now is the time to look for a trade. Now, when we get a big wick to the downside as we got right here, and then we start to get a move to the upside, this is where a lot of people start to FOMO long. They say, oh, we're getting a bounce. It's time to go long. But what we need to do is two things. Number one, we need to be patient and plan a setup. And then number two, we need to wait for that setup before we decide to enter the long trade. So what we should automatically be doing as traders every time we get a big dump or a big pump is we should be pulling out our Fibonacci retracement, right? So we come over here to Gone Fibonacci Tools. We click the retracement tool. We take it from the swing low to the swing high, okay? What this does is this gives us a very clear zone where we can now look for a scalp trade after a big move. We want to look at the area in between the 0.618 and the 0.786 Fibonacci. In order to get those levels, we double click. We make sure we have the 618 clicked. We make sure we have the 786 clicked. And then for the 0.65, doesn't really matter if we have it on or not, but you can just take any one of these things and double click it and change it into 0.65, and that will basically give you the 0.65. Then what we want to do is we want to put a box on the chart. Okay, this is a area where we are going to be now looking for a trade setup, and the trading plan is this. We are going to enter a trade right here. Our initial stop loss goes below this 786, and our take profit goes to the high of the range. It's actually very simple. And this right here is giving us a very nice risk to reward ratio, meaning there's 2.8 times more potential reward than there is risk. Now, this is the trading plan, but we only want to take the trade if we are given certain confirmations. So what are those confirmations? Well, the easiest confirmations that we can use is going to be market cipher B, money flow and momentum waves. Money flow and momentum waves. If we come in and we put in a very wicky low like this and we get a big bounce, and then we are coming back down to test that zone that we've marked out with our fib, right, from the low to the high. We want to make sure that we have the 618 and the 786 on. Then if we are coming down here and we are getting money flow curving to the upside and momentum waves also printing a higher wave, it's very, very likely that we're going to bounce from that zone. And we want to see this on multiple time frames, right? In this instance, we saw it on the 12-minute time frame. We saw it on the 6-minute time frame. We saw it on the 3-minute time frame. We saw it on the 1-minute time frame as well. As this money flow and momentum is getting thicker as we come right down to our zone, that gives us our very clear entry. And so if we do this, we're going to avoid getting chopped up. If this is an actual bounce,
we have an opportunity to enter at a really good entry, right? Instead of waiting until we're way up here to FOMO into a long, we can wait for price to come back down and give us that retest. And this is a great zone to be looking for retests. In fact, even if we come back down a little bit lower here, let's say, we may potentially even come down with another bullish divergence as we come a little bit lower, offering another scalp entry. And then what we can simply do is we can kind of trade this range sideways. In fact, if we take a fib from the high to the low, would you look at this? You know, we are finding resistance right around that same Fibonacci level, the 618 and the 786. So this is just a cool little tip, guys, just a little trading strategy. I actually use this quite often. You can use this on multiple time frames. Getting that retest after putting in a significant low with bullish trigger waves and money flow on market Cipher B can really make for great scalp trade entries. What I like to do is I like to take a profit and move the stop loss to the entry to guarantee a win. And then basically whatever happens from here, I'm guaranteed a winning trade.
If you want to join the Casper Crew VIP Discord, you can go to patreon.com/Jason Casper. This is where we post our levels every day, our trading plans every day, 3 live streams a day, as well as just a thriving community of traders. Also to take advantage of 0% limit fees on ByBit, which is great for scalping on low time frames like this. Click the link in the description. And if you deposit $100, you do get 1 month free of our tool, Crypto Fusion Trading Bot. For more info on the bot, check out jasoncaspertrading.com and click the Jason Casper Trading Bot. All right, y'all, so that first type of trade was the long from the golden pocket. And as you can see, after hitting some TPs, that thing got stopped out of the entry. Now, the second trade that we can look for after a big move to the upside or to the downside is a chickens drinking water. The way we're going to find that setup is by marking out that first major low or high, but in this case low because we're looking for a long that price has made. Once we put that low in, we're going to put a level, market key level, and what we want to look for is we want to see price dip below that level and then very, very quickly reclaim that level. And as it happens, when we're looking at our indicator market cipher, what we want to see is we want to see the bullish divergences, just like what we saw at the golden pocket, bullish divergences with momentum and money flow. This is called a chickens drinking water trade, and the reason why I call it a chickens drinking water is because when the price dips down and then comes back up real quick, it looks like what a chicken does when it dips his beak into the water to take a drink and then pulls it back and laps it up real quick. These are 2 trade setups that we can take every single time the Bitcoin price takes a huge dump or makes a big pump. That way we don't have to FOMO, we can just sit on our hands, kind of wait it out, and then once a setup presents itself, we can take that setup. And just like the first setup, I have already hit a TP1 on the trade here, and we are at resistance right now at the top of the local range, as you can see. And so now we're going to wait and see what happens. Are we going to find support and put in a higher low, or are we going to dump, in which case we can look for more scalp trades. So guys, these are definitely 2 things you want to keep in your arsenal when it comes to scalping, when it comes to trading. May God bless you all in the name of Jesus. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.